What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Game Plan. It's NFL Week 14, and we're planning out our bets for Week 14 with my man, Sharp App Specialist Extraordinaire, DFS player extraordinaire, and all-around gambling man, John Statsational Alesia. I heard that you were born a gambling man, trying to make a living and doing the best you can.
I've heard that before as well.
Have you?
Yeah. What's the? I've got the song in my head now. I can't even think who sings that.
It's the Allman Brothers.
That's
the
Rambling
Man.
Rambling Man. You know, I saw them in concert and actually at Jones Beach and actually left in the middle. I was so bored.
It's you know, they have songs that you like though.
No, like Melissa.
Can I tell you a secret? Since we're on that note, I find a lot of concerts boring. Like I have a hard time going to a full concert for anyone. All of a sudden they start playing their new shit. It's always
that's
like
the worst.
Yeah, I'm at a nostalgia concert, you know, like trying to watch some Bon Jovi or something, you know, it's nostalgia. I just want to hear the songs from the 80s. And all of a sudden it's like, on our new album coming, and you're like, bro, how many of these do I have to sit? But people enjoy it. So I'm not criticizing. Just saying.
Yeah, well, we're at an age where now it's like, the bands or whatever that you were into are 20, 25, 30 years old.
Yeah, they're old.
More.
I want your new stuff.
And then they're like, oh, we just want the new. So you got the hardcore fans that go and they're all into it. They want to hear the new stuff too. But then you've got the casuals, which is like 75% of your audience. They just want to hear the hits. I went to see Prince at the Garden and great seats. I'm sitting, pretty close. And he did not play one of his hits. He played a medley of the hits. So he did like all his hits in 10 minutes as a medley and then played for an hour and a half, like stuff that you never heard of.
Yeah, it's brutal. And you paid a lot of money for that. Yeah, listen, people enjoy it. Listen, God bless everybody. Let them all enjoy. But for me, I'm just saying, unpopular opinion. Sorry.
Well, you don't like to leave the house either. So it's got to be a good reason.
I'll go to a Broadway show.
Wow. Hold on. You went to one in the years I've known you, you've been to one Broadway show.
I'm classy.
You got you went to Hamilton.
Hamilton, that's right. Well, I went to see Harry Potter on Broadway as well. But that, in fairness, that was a play. That was not a musical.
All right. I
did see The Cursed Child on Broadway years ago. At the beginning, I feel like that was during COVID. I don't know. Anyway, we got some bets. We got the bets for NFL Week 14. Brutal week. If you're in the fantasy playoffs or you're trying to make the playoffs, bye weeks all over the place. A little rough one. So people are trying to navigate through that.
And NFL's got to do better, man. Like,
why did they make the bye apocalypse on the last week of the fantasy?
And we had 1 week. I don't know. It was week 8, 9, whatever it was. There was no buys. So just get them all done with by week 13. There's too much going. Like, what percentage? If fantasy, forget DFS, if season-long fantasy was somehow did not exist anymore, what does the viewership go down on the NFL?
Betting has replaced it a little bit.
Yeah,
but I would say still, you're talking 30 to 40% of the audience.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of placate to them. I mean, they put all the stats on the screen for the last few years, the leading rushers and all that, which they don't do that properly either. But, I don't, for DFS, like, no one wants to see the Thursday night. Like, they're going to tell, when they show it on the screen, like the leading guys for the week, leading rusher for the week, and they show you the Thursday night guys until someone passes them. Like, no,
yeah, it's annoying.
I don't want to see
they're showing you what they need to show, but you're getting down to business. But yeah, it is a little weird to do the bye apocalypse.
No, you can't do it in week 14. That you're a core group of your audience are playing. They're playing fantasy sports, and like and it's a lot of buys this week. It's like I think it's like 6 teams off this week.
It's a weird one. Especially like I play a lot of super flex leagues, and there's no backup quarterback. When your quarterback is on bye and the other one's on bye too, like I have a lot of leagues where both of them are on bye. There's no backup. You couldn't have a third. Only very few teams have a third quarterback. Certainly, you don't have enough quarterback power on your team to. Well,
I had to pick up Will Levis in my Lamar Jackson league. I only had one quarterback. I haven't really paid too much attention to it. I went and looked. I'm like, oh God, I got like 4 guys on a bye, and I'm fighting for the last playoff spot.
Will
Who's
Levis,
the best quarterback? Who's not in a bad spot this week? But
you want your brain to explode? Will Levis is the chalk this week.
I know. Well, that's why I'm like, let me
What?
pick him up. I know he looks good in DFS, and obviously that's a price thing. But
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. If I could get 15 to 20 points out of him,
Let me
that'd
ask
be
you a question, DFS question, before we get into the bets. Will Levis chalk, bad chalk?
Yeah. I mean, I don't particularly. I don't know if I want to go. If I'm going to be in love here with Will Levis. There was another. Who might we got to go through? Oh, the one that's good. Do you think is he going to be higher owned than AOC? Because that's a great match.
They're both way up there.
Yeah.
And they're both the chalkiest ones. Everybody's just going to say pay down, and it is what it is. Yeah, they're both chalky. And by the way, I don't even think Drew Lock is that bad of a comparison to those other guys. They're all the same shit. They're all the same crap.
It is.
All these
$4,700. Well, you had that situation last week. I was very high on Bryce Young last week because basically you want to look down the slate, see who Tampa's playing, and then get all sorts of pieces of that game. And what was nice is when they're playing these crappier team, and Bryce Young was like 4,700, whatever he was last week, and you got that same situation here with O'Connell.
Yeah, and by the way,
you could fit expensive pieces.
I go the opposite, but it brings me to the same conclusion. My first thought is like, oh, Brock Bowers, good week for him, and Jacoby Myers, good week for him. And then it's like, wait a second, what about the guy throwing it to them? If you already like the players, you might as well attach it to the quarterback. That's kind of how that worked. And the same thing with the Panthers last week. Like, I didn't play a lot of Bryce Young, but I really liked Adam Thielen, and I played a lot of Thielen. And so then I was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I didn't play Bryce Young. I didn't get there. But I did play a lot of Adam Thielen, which worked out. And you're right. Jaguars and Bucks are those two defenses that just seem in disarray. Like, they actually don't know. They're not well coached enough, I guess. I don't really know what's going on. It's weird with the Bucks because it's not like they have coaching staff issues on defense. I mean, the head coach is a defensive coach. They should know how to play defense.
Yeah, well, you've heard me rant about this all the time. But I hate having coordinators as coaches, which is 95% of the league. Look at your better coaches. Mike Tomlin, both of the Harbaughs. Like, I don't think Jim Harbaugh is not calling any plays on offense out in LA. Like, I like the guys who just are hands off. They just manage the game. Like, what do you call it? John Harbaugh was a special teams coordinator.
Yeah, just random.
And Tomlin was not a coordinator at all. But those are the guys you want.
No, flip side is, I mean, you could look to Miami and San Francisco, and
right,
where coordinators have done a great job.
Yeah, but what have they done a great job at? They've done a great job at their offense.
Yeah.
So I want that guy. Like, I'll pay McDaniels. Like, I'll pay him head coaching money to come on my staff and just be the coordinator. I don't need you to manage the entire game.
Just bringing Herm Edwards as a cheerleader head coach.
Listen, there's no one I love more than Herm as a human being. I don't want him as my coach. Herm's one of the great humans of all time, but I don't want him as a coach. He's done some really some nice things, but yeah, I don't want him as my head coach. But you look at Andy Reid, and I'm like, yeah, he's had a lot of success. He's had Patrick Mahomes. I mean, like I said, 95% of these guys are coordinators, but a lot of them are just awful in game. I mean, we've seen some really awful in game stuff.
Little Eberflus.
I mean, that was insane
last
week.
When a 6-year-old kid at Thanksgiving looks at me and goes, "Why isn't he calling a timeout here?" I was like, I don't know.
I've had, I mean, we're all in group texts, and matter of fact, so I was in one. My dad has messaged me. He's like, "What the hell what are they doing?" I go, "Yeah, they should have called time." He goes, "I didn't even realize they had a timeout." I go, "Yeah, it gets worse. They had a timeout."
They had the timeout. Call timeout. What are you guys doing? All right. But the good news is we got bets for Sunday. And let's get it right. And we're bringing them to you right off the Sharp app, live odds screen. Move over, Don Best. These odds are coming to you in real time, live, changing on the screen up to the second. You guys want to check this out. Live odds, the Proptimizer, the Sharp report, all the stuff we'll show you on screen here throughout the show. But keep in mind, we are real time pushing EV bets, through the Sharp app. Always find an edge using the Sharp app. Promo code DFSA25 gets you 25% off your Pro Plus subscription. That's live odds, the Proptimizer tool, the Sharp report, the bet tracking, the Discord, John's picks, and whatever else you need to smash in sports betting, all for just $75 a month. You want to sign up right now. You get your parlays, your big plays, and all that good stuff from the Sharp app. We'll show the top props tool in a little bit. We'll pick out a couple of props for this weekend.
The props have been so, but I got to just throw the promo out because we had a good night again and with the NBA props. But I think we're up it's about 38 units on the NBA season. I mean, I looked at it this morning. I'm like, we're 44 days in, up 38 units. And so that's like 0.8 units a day. And when you look at it on a day-to-day basis, you're like, oh, wow, I won 0.8 units. Like, I'm $100 better. Oh, I won $80 last night. You don't get excited about it. But it's like losing weight. Like, you don't get excited every time you lose a half a pound. You don't post it on Instagram and say, oh, look at me, I lost a half. But in 2 months, when you lost 30 pounds, you go, hey, wow, I look pretty good. Too often, everyone is looking at the short term. Like, they need to hit that plus 7,000, plus 9,000 parlay, or it's not worth it. Like, if you grind and you're playing your units and you're grinding out, you're going to have some up days, down days, and just following the props that I'm giving out. The NBA props, even the NFL props have been very good as well. You're going to wake up in 3-4 months with that win that you were trying to get in one day and keep chasing and chasing and chasing. Like, the long game is where you have to be in life and everything else. It's like, it's investing. You deal with it. You're in the stock market and everything else. People, how many times, like, someone will ask you an investing question, hey, how can I make a lot of money? I go, well, are you trying to make a lot of money today? Or do you have a 10-year horizon in the stock market? Because 10 years, I can give you a lot better advice than I can today. Because if I knew how to make, $1 million on the next stock trade today, I'd be doing it as well. So everyone just assumes, it's fun. They're going to play the $5 parlay, and it's going to win them $20,000. And play them by all means. Play the lottery, play all that. But if you're really trying to grind it out, you will be so much more successful following us on a day-to-day basis and sticking to the plan.
Let me put it like this: at Sharp, we're trying to produce bettors that bet with an edge. We're not trying to produce degenerates. And if you want to be a degenerate, this is not the place. EV betting is not for degenerate betting. It is a grind. It is a slow grind. It is snipping edges. And one of the things you mentioned, something I really like, but like a lot of people ask me, John, they're like, well, I bring up the Proptimizer tool. I'll show you the Proptimizer tool here. And I see the tool, but I don't really know how to read it. I don't know what to do. I see it. I don't know. First of all, it makes it really easy. Like, literally, if you want this Russell Wilson bet, and you should bet it because there is massive edge in the under 232 yards for Russell Wilson on DraftKings, fine. You just click the bet now. It takes you right to the bet. It loads it up in your ticket. It's right there. I mean, it's so easy.
It's going to take you, to whoever has the best odds. It's going to take you to their platform.
Right there. And by the way, and this is a good bet. So there you go. You want to bet for this week? There it is. Russell Wilson under 232 passing yards, fine. Right? It's Pittsburgh, Cleveland. I kind of like that game to play to a little bit better, a little bit more offense than what is being assumed. But there's edge on this under, like, simple as that. Some unders, under on Caleb passing yards if you want to do that, and the over on Sam Darnold passing yards. It's I like passing yards. It's one of my favorite bets. Last week I just read, this is how I do it. I just go through, I kind of find these, click the bet now. Let me take me to the bet. I avoid these ones here, like short receiving yards. These are the ones I don't do. Over 7 to 15. This is kind of not an edge that I like.
So I've got something you don't even know yet. So we're gonna be improving that. And I've been looking at other people. I've got an improvement for the app on this, and we're gonna be super accurate on these low. On the low totals. Right now they're a little tricky, but I've honed in on how we can.
I think a lot of people look at this and they see the big edges on those lower numbers, and they kind of get confused into what's good and what. Like, I would say this: like, you have to be aware, and over 2.5 rushing yards to 4, 2-4, it's kind of 0 or something. There's not really that much there. So I like to pay attention to those things and kind of like, oh, this is only winning 2 out of 5. This is not a good play. Like, I'd be under on this one all day. You know what I'm saying? Even though it points to the over. So I wouldn't play a bet like that. So you have to understand what you're looking at, but this is just NFL. The NBA ones are crazy. And much more repetitive, and there's none of they're really NBA is very straightforward, and that's really what smashes the most, I would say, using
That's
edge
I
betting.
use the tool as the basis for my game. Like I kind of that's the start of my picks is the tool, and then I filter down from there the props that I like from there. So
Yeah.
um,
And if you want to just
I'm using it.
yeah, if you want to just follow along with John, he's posting all those plays in the Discord along with Anthony, Schwam, and Mitch, and the whole Sharp team. So it is really good. Some Mutt and Madness, of course, are in there as well. So follow along with whoever you want. And I'm very much appreciate these tools and being able to have live odds and all that kind of stuff. I think it's super helpful for most levels of sports bettors. So again, check it out, DFSA 25 for this stuff. These are new tools that we've launched, these plus EV tools in the last few months. We have more coming out in the coming weeks. So really, it is a sub you want to lock down, because as we add additional tools to it, just like with DFS Army, the people who've been sub for a long time, they kind of lock in at a much lower rate, and the market rates just go up for a lot of this stuff, and they're locked in forever. We have people at DFS Army locked in at $20, $30, $40 a month for VIP that have been with us for many years.
There are people in it when we first launched at $9.99.
Yeah, there are people in on the Sharp app at $9.99 a month. That's right. Yeah. And it is great value for those guys. So congrats. But we appreciate them. They stuck with us. Learning curve. We are the little guys. We're coming up. We're going up against some big dogs out there. Some mega corporations. We're little guys out here, and we're working with sports bettors. And one of the cool things I love that we do at Sharp, again, and sorry to talk too much about it, is we're actually talking to the bettors and making adjustments based on the feedback and hey, I'd really like this. And we're able to do it. We're able to be really, really quick with this stuff. Our Discord is spectacular if you want to learn about betting and EV betting and all of that as well. So make sure to check it out. Again, code DFSA 25 knocks 25% off. That locks in forever. So you basically just have the sub at a discount. I highly recommend it. All right. With that being said, John, let's jump into the bets for NFL Week 14, starting with the Jets at the Dolphins. Jets are getting 5.5 in this game. Everybody kind of wrote the Jets off at this point. They're kind of quitting. There was talk about sitting Aaron Rodgers. It's a disaster. It's a complete debacle. There's no coaching staff. It's an undisciplined team. That being said, 5.5, not bad.
No, not bad at all. Look, I mean, the Jet season has gone well for me because I shorted them coming into the year. I think we discussed it earlier in the year where I said, it's at a minimum, it's going to take Rodgers at least 10 weeks. Because when you looked at what Brady did with Tampa, it took them like 10 weeks before their offense got going. Obviously, they were in a much better situation, and then they rolled from that point on. This Jet team has had a lot of really just some bad losses, some losses that they could have still been in the hunt here, and maybe it would have taken until now before they really started clicking. So, yeah, mentally, you just don't know where this team is at.
They lost maybe three games this season based on field goal kicker missing multiple kicks in a game. Yeah, you're right. They could have navigated it and then kind of been a little closer to 50-50 right now with the shot at the play. A couple games didn't go your way. It reminds me of some of my fantasy leagues where I lost a couple games by a point or two, and then you're like, oh, I'm out of it. Damn, my team's pretty good. That being said, Aaron Rodgers has been attempting to force feed it to Devontae Adams, with minimal success, I would say. I don't know what's going on with Garrett Wilson this season. He's just dropping passes. This guy never dropped passes before, and he's just dropping passes like crazy. It's almost like an unprepared, poorly coached. Oh, by the way, look what's happened on screen. I mean, if this isn't fire, it gave you what it was 2 seconds ago. You see it turning red as the average odds change. Really cool stuff. With that being said, John, do you have a side here? Is this where you slide back over to the Jets? Disrespected with Aaron Rodgers there getting just 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of killed the Jets a bit there, but Miami has not been all that impressive either. Now, I know you had a few games where we didn't have Tua, but even in these Tua games, they haven't overly impressed me. On the overall picture on my power rankings, I have them pretty close to the Jets. They're actually under the Jets. Obviously, you're going to get a little boost because of those games where Tua missed, and they were really hurting without him. But I don't think they're 5.5 points better than than what I have them on the rankings. If you want to give them 1.5 to 2 just for those couple of games, that still doesn't put them at plus 5.5 or minus 5.5 in this game. So I like the points with the Jets, plus the 5.5. I think they keep the game tight. I kind of like this game to be low scoring as well. So, maybe not a game that I particularly like for fantasy. The total is what, 45. I've got that up.
I feel like the total is too high.
Yeah, the 45 I don't like. So I think this goes under, and I think the Jets will keep the game tight. They'll probably lose another field goal type of game.
I just wanted to mention something here, and two things. First, using the Sharp app screen, you can see that actually the better bet is at BetMGM at +6, and you should grab that very quickly. That will change. It's available at this moment for +6, and that's just better than 5.5. In my mind. The other thing is, I was going to say something with Hawk Tua, and the rug pull on her crypto coin, but
that's been getting quite the attention.
Come on, if you bought the Hawk Tua crypto, and then you were surprised that you lost your money, you don't deserve to have any money. Well, you don't deserve to have it.
They were basically saying, well, we weren't promoting this towards people who were sophisticated with crypto, which is like, okay, well, this is not for the crypto bros.
Oh yeah, who's it for? What?
Yeah.
Wait, didn't she learn from Taylor Mathis is not famous enough for Hawk Tua girl to have learned from.
No, because they made I saw they were charging 15% per transaction, so they made like over $2 million just on transaction fees.
Why did they have to rug pull it? They should have just enjoyed it.
Makes no. I don't. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I did watch a little bit about this this morning.
Now, do you like the Jets as a bet here at +6?
No, I like the Jets here. Yeah, certainly +6, but the 5.5 if you're going to get it at most places, 5.5 -1. Someone had it -108 there at the 5.5, which is good for me. That was it DraftKings? Yeah, DraftKings has it at 5.5 -108. I'll take that. If you get the 6 at -115 at BetMGM, that's fine as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Jets. I think it's a tight game. Like I said, the way the Jets season's going, they probably lose it, but they could easily win this game. They're just not, to me, Miami's not has not been impressive enough. I think what we're getting is this, everyone is down on the Jets. And I just think they're not as bad necessarily as maybe their record shows.
Yeah. Or maybe they are, but you're right. Miami took a step back just specifically with Tyreek Hill not being dominant this year. Not. For whatever reason, he's not. I don't know why. That's been a thing. So it is definitely a concern. I don't really love anything from that game, or that's not a game I'm targeting for DFS purposes. Even Achane, fine, but probably not. Like, I love Achane, usually love him every week, but there are just other, there's Barkley and Kamara on the same slate, both better. All right. Next up, we've got the Falcons at the Vikings. Lines are changing just as we speak here. It's moving. Falcons are 5.5 point road underdogs in this one. The game total is set at 45.5. So high total game. Vikings home favorites. Pretty good stuff. Do you have a lean here?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the Falcons. I mean, I know both of these teams are kind of struggling a little bit. Now, Minnesota, you say struggling, but they've won, but they just have not looked as impressive. To me, they're kind of regressing a little bit. So I don't think they're as good as the 10-2 record. I think it's 10-2. I don't think they're as good as their 10-2 record. I think, again, this is another situation, 5.5 points, same line. Atlanta's the type of team that will play close. They burned me last week in the Charger game. They should have won. One of the worst interceptions you'll ever see from Kirk Cousins in the end zone in that game. And I think they'll bounce back in this one. I'm just waiting for kind of Minnesota's got a feel to me like Philadelphia did for me last year, where the record was not as good as the team, or the team's not as good as the record. And I'm expecting a little fade here for the last few weeks of the season. So I'm going to fade them in this game as well. I'll take Falcons here plus the points.
It's +6 on DraftKings. You get 6.5 at FanDuel at -130. 6 is -115. But if you're not screening these, You might end up at BetMGM at 5.5, or even Fanatics at 4.5. So be careful with this one. If we're going to bet it, I think the 6 number on DraftKings is fine.
5.5 at minus 105 is not terrible, right? So that's a 10-cent there. I like that bet. I would, if you have BetMGM and you had a choice between the two, I would save the 10 cents and just play the 5.5 over at BetMGM.
Okay. Well, for now we're using DraftKings to track.
Well, if we're building our parlay, yeah.
We're just it's more I'm just tracking the show plays here.
Right.
I want to have them on screen at the end so we know what we said, and then we'll figure out a parlay from the win calls. But I've been getting burned on the sleazy teaser. There's like one game that always burns you, and so I'm trying to rethink it just a smidge. But I'm not sure where we're going with it yet. We'll figure it out at the end here. All right, next up, we got the Saints at the Giants, the G-Men. 5-point home underdog Giants in this one. Actually, I forgot to say in the previous game. You know what? I forgot to mention. The Cousins revenge narrative.
Oh, yes.
Revenge narrative happening here. So if you needed another reason, and I like that one, to like the Falcons on the road here, it's Cousins revenge. He's going to be as fired up for the game as you can be. So I don't know how much that means, but I do like the narrative. All right. So again, Giants, 5-point home underdogs in this game. They are going back to Drew Lock in this one, John. No cutlets yet. Fade the cutlets. But Drew Lock, I feel like he just looked rusty a little bit and like he wasn't practicing very much leading up to last week's game. That was my takeaway from last week. Drew Lock played less good than I would expect him to, and you could just see the indecisiveness as he kind of stood back in the pocket, just waiting a little too long. He was just indecisive, John. He was out of practice. He looked like a rusty quarterback. I feel a week of practice, a week of playing, a week after last week's game, that he could come back and be a little more competent. I'm still of the mind that Drew Lock is probably a better just overall quarterback than what Daniel Jones is. Just like
I'm not convinced of that. I'm not
You're
convinced. No.
I mean, we'll see. Like I said, he's started for teams before. He hasn't been great when he started, but he hasn't been completely awful.
I think at Daniel Jones's best, we've seen him be better than Drew Lock at his best so far.
That's fair.
Maybe a little larger sample size, but I think
there's a lot more.
There's problems with this team.
I don't know if it's the team. I think it's the quarterback. You put Jameis Winston back there, he'd be slinging it.
I mean, that is what Jameis does, but
he'd be out there slinging it.
Look,
you'd have 40 points scored for Malik Neighbors with Jameis Winston. Same team, same everything else. It would change. Somehow that would work. That's what I'm saying. These guys are just too slow to throw the football. It's, by the way, it's not the offensive line. Throw the ball faster, bro. You got to process shit in your mind faster than what these guys can do. And I saw it with Drew Lock. He's just thinking a little too long. The guy's wide open. He's just not fast with the decision making. And on a Giants team with a mediocre offensive line, that is going to get you sacked, and it's going to make the team look worse than it is. A good quarterback makes up for a mediocre offense. I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah,
meanwhile,
there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So meanwhile, we got Malik Neighbors with a hip pointer or something going on, a hip flexor or some issue that may or may not start. I don't like this game if Malik doesn't play, but if they do, I'm leaning Giants here. Is that crazy?
It's, I have a hard time. I mean, laying 5 with the Saints on the road just seems like a sucker bet. But my lean would be the Saints, though. I just don't like it as a bet. I mean, I just don't like this game at all to bet. I mean, it just seems it's like a very difficult play for me to click that button on the Saints team who hasn't looked all that good as a 5-point dog. I know the Giants are one of the worst teams in the league, but I mean, do the Saints deserve to be 5-point favorites over anybody on the road? I don't know.
They're not the best team on the road generally.
Now, the weather's going to be good. I just looked at that while you were talking because that's always going to be a key. So we're getting, it looks like 49 degrees and not too windy up in New York on Sunday. So that'll be okay. Because if it was bad weather, you got a dome team coming into bad weather. Wouldn't like that as much. I mean, this is tricky. I don't think a lot of people are going to like to lay 5 on the road with the Saints, but I just don't think it's going to be a heavily bet game one way or the other. I don't think people want to put their money on the Giants either.
DFS wise, Saints lost Taysom Hill last week, so we're going to get a big game. Everybody's going to play Kamara. Kamara with no Taysom has actually been pretty good. That's the biggest problem with Kamara is he just doesn't score touchdowns.
Well, the other problem you have is he's expensive, and if you're going to pay, now he's not as expensive as Barkley, and we'll get to that game next, but I think Barkley's going to be pretty heavily owned, so that's going to take away a little bit from the Kamara ownership.
You have to choose. Yeah. It's a choice that needs to be made. There's no playing both of them. There are definitely, but the guy I actually like in this game, maybe more than Kamara in the sense of salary, is I loves me some Tyrone, and the Statsational power rankings model, again, another great tool available at Sharp for fantasy football players. I love this. This really does it for me, John. So thank you for this tool. Giants projected 140 rushing yards in this game. They only run Tyrone Tracy. And when you have a high number like that, that just that means New Orleans has not been able to stop the run this year. So, okay, let's play Tyrone. Like, come on. This is not tough. Drew Lock is a more competent quarterback than Tommy Cutlets. So, again, sucks or not, doesn't matter. He's mildly competent as an NFL quarterback. He's been a starter in his career. He's been around forever. So I think you can get a competent game out of Giants RB. So yeah. And that guy is Tyrone.
Yeah, he's 50. I forgot how much he is, but I think 5,700.
He's in the 5s. He's cheap.
And I think definitely where I agree with you there. A guy who's going to get the bulk of the work.
You cheat code him. You put him in there with cheat code Garendo. You can afford Saquon or Kamara in the last spot as of how it goes together.
Exactly.
So you can't afford it. All right. Next up, we've got the Panthers at the Eagles. Eagles, 13.5-point home favorites. And I have to say about the Panthers, they've been in some competitive games the last couple of weeks. I think that this is a rougher spot because they finally now will go up against what I think, and you'll verify this. I think the Eagles have become an elite defense. I think they're really, really good. I now have there it is. Here's the power ranking, so it agrees. But take a look at the power rankings. You're up against the Eagles. You're throwing for 46 less yards than you normally do. You're running for 20 less yards. When you see green on the power ranking screen, that means this team is fucking locked down. Their defense is good, and it's hard to have good scores against them. So I don't know. Is this the end of the positive run of, offense for the Panthers, John?
I think so. From a betting standpoint, I don't like to lay this many points in a game, and I've had Carolina quite a bit as far as the bets. I don't have a strong lean on the game. If I was going to bet it though, I think the side would actually be Philly. It's one of the few times I would lay this many points. I don't know how they're going to score on this. That's the key. Like, I just don't know how they're going to score on this defense that Philly, look what they did against Baltimore. No one slowed Baltimore down. They were able to slow Baltimore down in that game. And I was worried about that game from a DFS perspective for that reason. I thought everyone was going to overplay that game. I played a
lot of it.
Yeah, I just thought that game was going to get way too overplayed in a situation where you've got maybe the best defensive football on the field. And it was a game that I was warning people maybe don't get too heavy with. So I think they're going to struggle, Carolina, that is. And that's why, I absolutely love Barkley from a DFS standpoint, because Carolina, go ahead. You got the sheet up there. Look at Carolina.
Carolina is allowing, they're allowing 35 more passing yards. They're terrible defense. No,
that's offense. Their passing yards are par. That's their offensive passing numbers.
They're allowing 50 rushing yards above average that means they'd allow 350 yards for Saquon this week. Look at
Philly. So Philly averages about almost 60 yards over their opponents. So their rushing number is going to be insane.
This is the highest number I've ever seen on your sheet. 232 is actually a record.
He's going to go crazy. So you've got a running back here who's looking to break records. He's looking to win an MVP. they're going to be in a game script where they're going to be up in this game, not being challenged. He's getting a heavy dose of the ball, and Philly has not thrown the ball well. So if you're looking at a DFS standpoint, their wide receivers, it's been some of the worst numbers in the league for fantasy wise. Quarterback's been fine, but they're not getting any production from wide receivers. This is going to be a Barkley game, and I do think from a betting standpoint, if I had to make a play, I would take Philly. I think they'll control the game, but I just, you know me, I always have a hard time laying this many points. But I was actually surprised. A few weeks ago, certainly 13.5. I thought with Carolina playing better, this line may be a little lower, but it has not. So, I think Philly would be my lean here.
Yeah. Great game. Great in terms of just Barkley coming in to smash, and also fade the shit. This is the fade Panthers offensive players. This is not the week to like play Chuba. If you're making a decision between like Chuba or someone like that, Chuba no more. Not here.
There was no you just avoid Philly. They're not great game stacking games. You got to pick your spots, and certainly Barkley.
Yeah.
Even at 9K, everyone's like, well, he's expensive. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when CMC was like 11K.
CMC did get to 11. Yeah. And we were paying it.
He was scoring 30.
Yeah.
There's no reason Barkley's not scoring in the 30s in this game.
Cleveland at the Steelers, a rematch from a couple of weeks ago when the Browns pulled out a W. Now you got the Steelers at home, 6.5-point home favorites in this one. Steelers coming off a big game offensively where Russell Wilson lit up the scoreboards. What? Where did that come from? Are you serious right now? And then same thing with the Browns. Jameis Winston, I loves me some Jammo. I've been talking up Jammo ever since he came back to start for this team, and it has worked out. Jameis Winston has delivered 3 tournament-winning scores out of the 5 weeks that he's played. Now, interestingly, one of the non-tournament winning performances from Jammo was when they played the Steelers. But when you dive deeper, you'll note that the reason that happened is because they leaned on the run. They played defense in that game. The betting gods were handing it to the Browns. You knew going in, you watched it. Steelers just turning it over. It was one of those, what I call the betting gods game, where everybody wanted to bet on the Steelers. And so the betting gods came in and they had the Steelers fumbling. They had interceptions happening. They had fluky plays and all of that shit. And Cleveland was just able to sort of navigate a betting gods fueled win. If you've bet before, you know who those betting gods are. They're the one that comes in when the Eagles are playing the Panthers in the right moment and cause somehow the Panthers to be competitive with like the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago. The betting gods were involved there as well, John. Do you believe in the betting gods?
No. But
you let me fucking talk about the betting gods for that whole rant. And you're like, no, I don't believe in that.
Gave me time to look up some stuff.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, I mean, look, this game from my numbers have Cleveland plus the points. And I'm with you though. I love me some Jameis. Winston is fun because it's all, listen, to me, that was one of the best games of the season.
It's so fun to watch it.
Great game to watch. I was texting. I was in a group, one of my group chats. I was texting my buddy at the end of the game, I said, this game ends on a Jameis touchdown or a Jameis pick. There's no in between. And sure enough, it ended on the Jameis pick. I just thought it would happen in the red zone. He didn't quite get there, but the beat on that was awful because I had Cleveland plus the plus.
Oh yes,
so
yeah,
that was not. That was. I mean,
that was another one. Yeah, that's a tough way to go. I knew pick sixes were coming. I literally wrote in my notes.
The first pick six was atrocious. A 3-yard pass for a pick. Like after he had about 8 seconds to throw the ball with no pressure, and then you check down to a guy who's covered is beyond me for a pick six. But that's Jameis. Like then he comes out of that throwing absolute pills all over drove him right down and scored. So it basically negated the pick six. Cost them really, let's say, just cost them 3 points because they would have kicked the field goal. But he was throwing BBs for the rest of that game. Fun to watch. Unfortunately, he didn't get that cover for me. But Yeah. So my numbers, I like Cleveland in the game. What I'm worried about is that kind of, can they beat them twice? Like you said, are they going to be able to do this again to Pittsburgh? And on top of that, we've got sharp money coming in on the Steelers side. That's moved it from 5.5 up to the 6.5 number that we're seeing. So,
by the way, the answer is they cannot beat them twice.
Probably
They're
not
winning this game. But
so
6 points is a lot of points.
No, it's a lot of points in the game. Look, Pittsburgh just continue. Pittsburgh is just one of the best. I mean, I don't know where you would put them right now in the overall. The Pittsburgh You're on DraftKings. Check out their line to win. What do I have them at on the power rankings?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You've got Pittsburgh up there as team, I don't know, 6 in the NFL.
No, they're 2, 4. That's
4, 5, 6, 7. So you have them 7th best team in the National Football League, ahead of Kansas City.
Well, look at Kansas City. Well, because Kansas City's
doesn't matter, dude. Good. Kansas City's going to fucking tear through the playoffs like they always.
Well, that's typically what happens. But go look at DraftKings and go look at the futures on Pittsburgh.
Hang on.
Go to you're right there. Yeah, scroll across.
Here we go.
There you go. Super Bowl. Pittsburgh's plus 2,200. I mean, that's not a bad bet right now.
They are 7. I mean, it agrees with your power rankings, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, Kansas 7, City's 8. Always going to be over.
That's right. But this perfectly lines up with your power rankings, which is kudos to the power rankings. Like they line up really nicely with what's going on here. And Detroit and Philadelphia are going to be challenging for the NFC at this point. It looks like it is down to those two teams, with the Packers kind of hanging around. It's interesting, the Packers and the Vikings the same here. I have the Packers ahead of the Vikings, but whatevs. And then Let me tell
you something. I don't want to play the Bucs. I know they squeaked by last week. Nobody wants to play the Bucs in the playoffs because that team could put up points on anybody. They just can't stop you. So they're just going to have to outscore you in a game. I don't think anyone's going to look forward to that matchup, assuming the Bucs make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, Bucs can get it done. They're not going to play defense.
No,
but they can score, and they got Bucky Irving, and Bucky Irving might be a superstar.
But there you go, Pittsburgh. Yeah, you showed it briefly. Pittsburgh was a sharp play this week. So
Sharp Report does have
Report has Pittsburgh on there
at 5.5. They liked Pittsburgh. Yeah. So do that what you will. That ain't. But
the Squares do as well. The Squares are on Pittsburgh also. Squares got it at 6.5, of course, but Squares are on that side as well. So it's pretty much the books are going to be needing Cleveland in that game.
If you want to bet this, go to Caesars. What up, Kesar? And take the +7. Might as well get the
+7 at -120 is
minus
good.
120.
Yeah.
So and if anybody knows what up Kesar is, comment in the comment section below. If you actually know what that's a reference to, I will just personally be impressed. Not giving you anything. Oh, if you know what it is, I'll give you the promo code for 25% off Sharp app, DFSA 25. Spoiler. John, you have no idea what that is, and I wouldn't expect you to.
No.
All right. Raiders at the Bucs. AOC. Heading into town. Tampa. They don't like AOC in Florida. I don't know if you know about that.
It's a red state.
Yeah, they don't like AOC down there. But AOC's heading down to Florida, Tampa. 6.5 point home favored Buccaneers in this one. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't necessarily love this. Love the game. If I had to take a side, though, I think I would take the. I mean, I'm very high on Tampa. They've been a little disappointed and a rough game last week that they really probably should have lost. But I think this team against this. I like this game for DFS. I thought the line. Here's the thing that actually is confusing me is the total. I like this game to go over the 46.5. I'm almost feel. That's the side I like the best. I almost feel like it's stealing, and when it feels like it's stealing, that means you're usually going to trip off an alarm somewhere and get caught. So I think that's a low total for this game. I'm going to stick with it and say maybe they're not trying to suck me in on that line, but I like the total more than anything else of 46.5. If you had to take a side, I'll take the Bucs minus the 6.5. But I think that 46. I have a feeling you agree. Like you like 46.5.
Oh, I love the over here. If you're going to play AOC, this is what I always see these things. You have to tie in DFS with betting, right? How do you tie in DFS with betting? I'm always looking for what are the angles. We're identifying spots on the DFS side, and they do translate to the betting side, props or game totals and that kind of thing. And right here, we already talked about everybody likes AOC in this game. More so, we already know the Bucs are going to score. That's the given. The Bucs can score really quickly. They're good at that. They got Irving there. Evans is back, and actually this is a plus matchup for Kate Otten. But on the Raiders side, this is actually a great. The Bucs are been weirdly terrible versus tight ends of all things. So, as a bonus, the strength of the Raiders' offense is something that the Bucs are not that good at, which is stopping the tight end. So you would think the Raiders can score here, get a little action going, and if they do, if the Raiders can put up 21, 3 touchdowns, this is going over.
Has Tampa held anyone to less than 21?
No, not lately. I mean, everybody's putting up numbers. The Panthers are putting up numbers against them. So everybody's putting up numbers against these guys. Do I love the Raiders offense generally? No. But the Bucs haven't been able to stop anything. I like the over. As far as the spread, though, if I had to lean, I would just, again, this is a great potential for a teaser where you just take the Bucs money line just to win. So I do think the Bucs should be able to win this game. Even if they go down at some point, I have confidence in their ability to catch up and take a lead in a game like this. They're at home, so I wouldn't mind pairing this up maybe with a little money line on the Bucs there, rather than laying the 6.5. If I was doing this as a parlay,
they're not losing this game. I like that that. Yeah.
All right, let's keep it going, John. The bets are coming. Jacksonville at the Titans, 2 bad teams that team bad together. Titans -3 in this one. Everybody loves Will Levis all of a sudden. Okay, fine. Now, but Jacksonville, they're rolling out Mac Jones here. Generally, he's not that much different than I honestly don't think he's that different than what you get from Trevor Lawrence. Maybe
certainly this year.
Yeah, I mean, like the 2024 Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones are not that different. I don't know how you lay any kind of points with the Titans. I don't get it. Even a bad defense like the Jaguars can score pick sixes off of Will Levis. I don't really get this.
The defense, the Jaguar defense hasn't been obviously hasn't been good on the whole for the season, and then they had that really bad game against Detroit. But if you kind of throw the Detroit game out over recent game, they haven't been that bad. The sharp money has come in on the under. It was probably more than 40 when it's at 40 now. Where were they at?
On the sharp
40
report,
and a half, right?
Tennessee. But by the way, talk about betting with an edge, guys. This is another thing I always want to emphasize when I show this stuff. Note that the sharps are always beating the closing line. This is all you need. Beat the closing line.
I like this to stay under as well. So I think that's the side on this game is the total.
This game is a stinker. Tennessee plays good defense too. They know how to. They're not a great defense, but they know how. They just finagle. Yep. They weasel it out of defense that ends up being good.
I agree.
You ever hear somebody call a defense?
Sorry, I had to turn my Alexa off there. She was telling me I had a calendar event. But yeah, no, I think I agree with you there. Where this Tennessee defense, you're right. They've it's been an ugly. It's an ugly team, but in a good chunk of the games, they have kept themselves in just on the defensive side. The offense is just atrocious. So, that's what we're kind of playing against them. Teams passing against them have struggled if you look at the power rankings. And that's a lot of that has to do with the fact that teams are up on them and really not throwing all that much. But I expect them I expect both sides to really kind of struggle to score. I like the sharp side of this game. I like the under 40. If I had to make a bet on the side, I'll take the favorite. I think Tennessee winds up covering this game. I think Tennessee's a little bit better than maybe a lot of people think, and I think Jacksonville is going to struggle as well. Now, maybe we get something. I don't know. You always get a little bit worried when you get the backup quarterback coming in, especially when the starting quarterback has struggled. But I mean, I guess they could never make a move to bench Lawrence. I don't think that was ever going to be a thing. But you'd have to think that if they thought that they had anything coming off the bench here, that they would have went ahead.
No, it's not good. They're not. They believe in Trevor Lawrence. The problem is Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has the talent to be a good quarterback.
Well, if the problem's not Trevor Lawrence, then you just don't. Then you're not going to get the surprise. What I was trying to say is, like, sometimes you get that backup quarterback comes in. It's a surprise. Like, they play really well, and if it's a team issue, kind of like what we talk about with the Giants, even though these quarterbacks aren't great. If you're having problems with if it's a team thing, I don't expect any surprises here with the who the hell's quarterbacking now? I'm forgetting
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Not good.
We're not going to get and we know how Mac Jones sucks. So
he's not good.
So I like kind of see, but I think the safer side is the under. I think
I like it. We added the under to our bet slip for this one, so we're going to stick with the under and avoid taking a side here. I'm not laying points on Titans. No, hell no. Seattle at Arizona. Cardinals at home, 2.5 point home favorites in this one. I don't really know what to make of this game. It's in a weird spot beneath the 3 for the home team. These teams play each other quite a bit. I have no feel for this at all.
Yeah, again, this is a tricky game. They just played each other like 2 weeks ago, I think,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
This is one. All right, so I'm going to go with the total again. And I think the 40, this game's at 44.5, I want to say. I've got the
they're
40. You got a 44.
Yeah.
I've got the Sharp app up in front of me. So you could get 44.5 actually at BetMGM right now, -110. I like this to the under. I like that 44.5 number. If you got BetMGM, you could actually get 45.5 at -125 on ESPN Bet. But I'm good with the 44.5. I'm leaning to the under on this game, and I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this for DFS purposes. I think a lot of people are interested in this game. I think it's actually going to be a little lower scoring than maybe people think. My numbers here have it at exactly 45 points, which is pretty close to where the market's at. But I'm leaning to the under, and actually it's almost bettable for me on the under. I like this game to go under.
Yeah, I mean, for DFS purposes, the numbers, it's projecting pretty good passing yards for Seattle, pretty good rushing yards for Arizona. I tend to kind of, seems about right with James Conner and maybe JSN kind of being the guy for Seattle in this one. You want to make the 40 points official? You want to go under official?
Yeah, let's go. I'm looking at it here now too. This thing opened at 46.5 and it just keeps getting bet down. And I like it to the under as well. Like I said, the Sharps liked it. No, the Sharps don't like this one. The Sharps haven't come in on this one, but just my numbers have this one on the under. When I'm actually looking at the Sharp report. The square money's coming on Seattle, and the book needs the Arizona. So the squares do like Seattle plus the 2.5.
There we go.
Arizona's playing well. Arizona's. If I had to take it, I would take them under the 3. But I think it's gonna be a lower scoring game.
I don't see much reason to play this one. I just don't have a feel. Seattle both of these teams. Arizona 1 week looks amazing. The next week they look like shit. They're just an up and down team. I don't like their passing.
Seattle does that too.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm saying both of these teams just are Jekyll and Hyde type of teams. They look amazing 1 week. They look terrible the next. There's some DFS interest here. Like, I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. is in a good spot, and he does wreck the kind of he does well against the style of defense that Seattle plays. But who wants to play him? So he's okay. Jackson Smith and Jigba, okay. It's nothing too exciting there. I'm avoiding it for the most part. I just don't have a great feel for it. Bills at the Rams. Rams are at home. 3.5 point home underdogs in this game. The total, let's see here. What do we got for a total? Total set at 49.5. So we got a high total. This has come down. I feel like this was actually, was it 50 at one point? Maybe.
I'll tell you right now. Well, you could get it 50 at some books. Circa's got it at 50. So
it does have 50 at some books. And, the Bills only 3.5 point road favorites here. Yeah, Bills, one of the best teams in the league. They're doing really well, but their offense, hasn't really clicked necessarily in terms of the pass almost all season. It's been a lot of Fields. It's been a lot of Allen running for touchdowns. It's been a lot of James Cook doing a lot of the work and fluky touchdowns and all of that. Bills have been playing really good defense as well. And you get a Rams team that, they have a potent offense there. They have all the pieces in place to score touchdowns if they need to. This could be an interesting one. How do you see this one going down?
Yeah, if I had to lean on this one, I would take the Rams plus the points at home. I'm just looking through the Sharp app. Our AI model actually loves Buffalo. They think Buffalo should be a 6.5 point favorite. So that's interesting.
That's huge. That is about as big.
It's very rare that it's that big of a difference.
Yeah. So the Sharp AI is in love with the Bills.
They like the over too because it has a 47 on the total. So that's interesting. But yeah, you were mentioning the spread has come down. It's actually gone up. So it's been it opened up lower, the total, I should say.
The total
opened up 47.5.
It's being bit up. Okay.
Yeah, it's been going up. And like I said, Circa looks like, I don't know if anyone else has 50. I could scroll through, but Circa does have it at 50 minus 110 on the total. But that's obviously only of significance if you want to bet the under. Just quickly, who has this? Is ESPN? I can't. We got so many sport.
Yeah, I've only got.
Sport Trade. Sport Trade's got it at 50 over 50 minus 100. If you like the over.
Sport Trade you won't really be taking. Cool. Sport Trade is a really cool sports book because that one is live betting, meaning that's an exchange. So you have those are real bettors on both sides of that, creating an equal kind of.
We got new book. We got new books in the. I haven't even updated my my screen.
Hang on,
I'm just looking through to see if I had all the books clicked.
I'm putting them all up here, and yeah, I mean, look at all.
We got some new books in here as well, so I got to add these into my.
I mean, look at this. Screen. Who has this? Where are you going to find this? Sports Interaction Ontario. What even is Sport Trade? There we go. Let me slide them up a little bit more. We got Pinnacle here. Every book. There's Circa. X. Another one I really like is Profit X. Another exchange that you should generally be getting really good lines on Profit X. So some of these books are available everywhere too, like Fliff, Profit X. So yeah, anyway, what were we talking about?
Well, Profit X is interesting because they're at 48. If you is 48 and heavily juiced. That's interesting. I got to go look at that one.
Yeah. So wait, on the bill, we're talking about the Bills total, right?
Yeah. Now I got to go double check, make sure that's good. That's plus 115 over 48.
I took the wrong one. I took Parks.
That's Parks. Bet Parks. Yeah.
Here's
the
Profit.
X.
Yeah, there it is.
There's Profit X has plus 115 over 48. That's on the betting exchange.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. You're getting plus money to get a better line here on the over than the general market.
These Profit X lines are crazy. I don't even know what the hell I'm seeing. Get out of here, Bet Parks. Although we were a fan of Bet Parks on the Gargano show.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a big fan of Bet Parks. Okay, so where were we? You like the over on this one?
Yeah, I do. I do think this game goes over. That's going to be one of the better DFS games. I think it's the highest line of the week for the main slate. Yeah, I like.
Here it is. Right. Yeah, you're getting plus 115 at 48.
That's
By the
crazy.
way, there's no juice in these. Profit X, there's no juice in the. These are better sports books. They're non-juiced, so you can use them for hedges. You can use these for arbing. There's a lot of really cool possibilities if you have access to something like a Profit X or a Flip or an exchange like what this is. So pretty cool stuff. What about the total? Do you like a side here? You like the Rams? Are we putting an official play in?
I would not play this as an official play. I do like the Rams plus the points. Don't love it as an official play, but if I had to go one way, I think this Ram team is going to continue to get better now that they're getting healthier offensively, and so I like them plus the points a little bit. I do have to pull for buy. I do have some futures bets from before the season on Buffalo to win the Super Bowl, so I do want to see them improve their seeding and get there. I've got Baltimore as well, but yeah, I have a feeling the Rams kind of knock them off in this game.
I like it. I like the call. Yeah, one thing I did note about the Rams, just for defense purposes, or for DFS purposes, not defense, DFS purposes. They're throwing to Kyren Williams less and less. Last week, Kyren, no targets the last 3 weeks, really. So they're just not throwing. They're not throwing to the running back almost at all anymore with Puka and Cooper Kupp there. I think part of the reason is because those guys are just running the type of pattern. They're just open. So you're rarely having to check all the way down, it seems like. And also Blake Corum got in there for 30% of the carries last week. So the superpower of Kyren Williams was always like 90% workload and plenty of targets. And that superpower has gone away a little bit. So not so high on Kyren anymore, unfortunately, until that changes. It seems like with Cooper and Puka back, Koopa, they just call him a combo, Koopa. With Koopa back, Puka and Cooper, they don't throw to the running back, and the running back has not been putting up numbers. All right, next up, we've got the Bears at the 49ers. Bears are getting 3.5 in this game. Total set at 44. John, road spot for the Bears. Caleb Williams has been looking pretty good. He looks good, and then he looks terrible. But he's been looking good the last few games. No more Eberflus to hold him back.
Yeah, that's the thing here. I mean, you've got this 49ers team just does not look good at all. Yeah, Chicago's had its moments. Williams has had his moments. New coach, like you never know. That's kind of like the backup quarterback scenario. Like, does that inspire the team here? Are they going to get on board? It isn't. It's an interim coach.
I feel like they hated Eberflus.
I can't. I mean, I can't imagine they were with all the stupid stuff that they did this year. I have to think this gives a little boost to the team. I mean, we saw that with the Raiders last year, right? With Antonio Pierce.
You know who didn't see it with? The Jets.
Didn't help the Jets.
No, it's not always going to work.
No.
Certain teams yes, certain teams no. I don't know. We've had the full range of emotions this season. Yeah, 49ers. They lose 2 running backs. They're down to Garendo, who might be awesome. By the way, I have a feeling he's going
to be fine in the game. This Bear defense is not bad. I mean,
they're good, but they're much better. They are much better versus the pass than the
absolutely.
run.
Yeah, no. So I think they'll be able to run the ball on them. Just 4 points, 3.5 for my lean would be the Bears here plus the points in this game. This is I have a real DFS and betting wise. I'm struggling with this game a bit.
DFS wise, I will say, I think you could just play Caleb. He seems like a fun play. He's really easy to stack. I don't think you have to overthink it. In DFS, yes, play Caleb, put him with DJ Moore, put him with Keenan Allen or Odunze or Komet, 2 of those 4 guys, double stack it. You bring back with Garendo, no worries. I like it in DFS, right? This is not a week where any specific quarterback is like a must play. So, hey, well, yeah, take a shot with, you gotta take your shots. You want to have some fun with a guy who stacks with cheap wide receivers? Sure. And is a low cost option with each wide receiver, 20 plus point upside. Yeah, that's what I want. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least I contain them all to the same situation. And I already know you're bringing it back with Garendo because you're putting a Garendo in every freaking lineup this week. So it's not like that part is hard. So I think that's the play. Just no problem. Maybe get George Kittle in there, have a little Kittle action going on. Fun one for DFS. But as far as the bets, that's a whole other story. I don't know. Let's see here. You're getting, so you like the 3.5 for you like the Bears getting 3.5 betting spot?
Yeah, it's not really bettable for me. Yeah, I'm struggling with the game on the whole, but I don't like this direction that San Francisco is going in. So
San Francisco, are they officially out of the playoff hunt?
No, I don't believe
they still have some percentage points of chance.
Yeah, they still have a shot here, but it's not looking very good.
Yeah. What happened to
that whole division is going to make it other than them, which would be remarkable. If I told you 3 of the 4 would make it and San Francisco would not be the one, no one, you would have made a lot of money on that bet. No one would have taken that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely unexpected. No doubt about it. All right. Where were we? Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Chargers.
That's the main
at
slate.
The Chiefs. What, did I skip one?
No, that was the whole main slate. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Okay, yeah, that's the end of the main slate. We got Sunday and Monday night football. Chargers at the Chiefs. Sunday night football. Chargers getting 4.5. I have a side here, but I can't wait to hear what you say before I say my side. But yeah, Chargers getting 4.5 at the Chiefs.
So yeah, I've actually got a lot of things triggering on this game, but unfortunately, it's triggering on both sides. So I'm going to have to go back to my own handicapping ability. I think the Chargers win this game outright. Now, I think I'm probably not in the minority here. I think everyone's been kind of waiting for the Chiefs. I mean, they have not won every game, obviously, but I think everyone's looking at it like, well, how many of these games can the Chiefs win? And how many of these tight games? This Charger team, I think, is on the rise. Listen, this is the best Herbert we've seen. And I think that's probably the most, I think that might be the quietest story of the year is Herbert's performance. So you got to give a lot of credit to Harbaugh coming in there, changing that whole culture of that team, helped Herbert out a lot. I think they win this game. I don't know if they're not better than the Chiefs.
I mean, they're not, but they're better right now.
They're not that much. They're not that far behind them.
They might be better than the Chiefs in December. They're not better than late January Chiefs. That I can tell you for sure. Like, the Chiefs will bring it in the playoffs, but they have not been great. You can't let the Panthers be ahead and almost beat you. You can't let the Panthers stop you defensively. What the hell's going on? And it's not like the Chiefs are lacking talent. They now have, they got DeAndre Hopkins over there. They've got a couple of tight ends doing their thing. They have their rookie wide receiver. They have what they need. Pacheco. They have running backs.
They could get their old coordinator back. Bieniemy just got fired from UCLA.
Bring him back. Get back over here. As a matter of fact, they should bring him back.
I'm sure he's in high demand.
Do you when you get fired from UCLA, there's no provision that you can't go back to working somewhere else. That's it. You're fired. You're free to go.
I'm sure they were happy to just sell him. Go ahead. You can coach anywhere you like.
Go wherever you want.
Yeah.
Lesson for college teams and pro teams, guys. And I'm going to give this lesson out free. This is part of my Become the Jets GM application. Okay. Because I submitted a resume to Woody for Jets GM position. And if you're watching, guys, one thing that I won't do as GM of the Jets is I'm not going to find the offensive coordinator for the best quarterback in the NFL and think that guy is awesome. I ain't going to be fooled. If you're Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator, you're not going to work for us. I'm not going to be impressed that Peyton had a great year. Same thing if you're Aaron Rodgers.
You are stealing you're stealing my old man. Get off my lawn rant. Yeah, it's been driving me nuts forever.
Well, it's not just coordinator. I don't mind a coordinator. What I mind is assuming that guy is good based on the fact that Tom Brady did well when he was like, that means nothing. When you talk about the highest level quarterbacks in the NFL, I'm not impressed that an offensive coordinator was fine when they were the quarterback. As a matter of fact, those quarterbacks run the game themselves anyway.
That's the key point. Or it happens with defensive coordinators as well. I mean, how great was that San Francisco defense? And so you bring Sal in. How many guys got head coaching jobs off the Baltimore Raven defense? thanks to Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. All right,
What's
great
up,
players.
Rex Ryan, right? But actually, I feel like Rex Ryan's good defense.
No, see, Jet fans are delusional about Rex Ryan.
Yeah, we like
so Rex Ryan. Put Rex Ryan in there without. Well, you do have Sauce Garner, but put him in there with with the mediocre talent. He had that lockdown court. He had Revis locked down.
No.
All right, they got very lucky to get there with Sanchez twice. They get to the championship game there.
That was all luck. And by the way, Rex jumped the shark when he tattooed Sanchez's face on his ankle or whatever the hell he did.
He's been lobbying to get that job.
Yeah, he's just no, Rex, it ain't you, bro.
He's one of the.
Yeah, the Jets need the most professional, business-like head coach ever. They cannot fuck around with bravado guys. They need a professional football man.
Bring in Parcells.
Tuna.
He hates the Jets.
No, he hates the franchise.
He hates the whole franchise.
Get Belichick. I would sell my soul for Belichick as a Jets fan, but even he's a bit of a bravado guy too.
The Notre Dame coach I heard was being rumored, and he seems like a pretty good. He's that type of guy. Be a pretty good fit.
Yeah, we'll see. Last game of the week, and maybe the worst game. The Bengals at the Cowboys. Cowboys are getting 5.5 at home. Cooper Rush out there. Bengals lost season. Bengals defense might be the worst defense in the NFL. You know what? I want to check on your power ranking sheet.
Yeah, who's worse? That's a good question. Well, like I was going to say, with Tampa, it's like you want to scroll down here and see, and they're not on the main slate this week, but find out the Cincinnati game. Well, just look at the defensive rating, 2279. So Carolina's the worst. Jacksonville's next. They're the third worst from a defensive rating standpoint.
These guys stink. They've been absolutely terrible.
But look at that number. So you look at that offensive pass minus defensive pass. Yeah. What that's showing you is how good they are throwing the ball offensively minus how bad they are passing the ball. Defending the pass. And so those are the teams that you really want to target in game stacks. And there you go. So Cincinnati's been the worst team or best team to target game stacking wise.
Yeah, they're absolutely terrible. Yeah, this is a great metric because you just quickly look and you're like, oh, play teams against Tampa. Oh, play teams against Minnesota, who is surprising. But, play teams against Minnesota. Fine. Baltimore, a little surprising, but okay. So, you get these teams, these greens, and you're like, oh, why does that happen? Because they can score and because they can't stop the opponent. That's simple. And games turn into crazy shootouts for these kind of teams in green. This is one of them. Of course, they're going up against a Dallas team that is just as unsexy as can be. Dallas team looks like a non-binary, gender fluid person. Just the opposite of being sexy.
Cis is sexy is what you're trying to say.
I'm just saying that whenever somebody tells me they're non-binary, the first thing I notice is how ugly they are.
That's
I think it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I
mean, this is where we get canceled for politics. Right. It's not politics, bro. I just look at them and they're uggos. Sorry,
you're not wrong.
Sorry, keeps it real. That's what the Dallas offense is. Boring. Cooper Rush, gross. But who cares? This isn't part of the DFS slate anyway. Betting wise. Can you bet? Can you lay 5.5 with a Bengals team that can't stop anyone?
Yeah, it's another. It's kind of like in the same boat as that New Orleans game. Like this is a better team. The Bengals, they should put up points. I'd feel a little bit better maybe with them laying the 5.5 than maybe I do with the Saints, but I don't like this one either. I like the over 49.5.
Yeah, the over. Hey, can't stop anybody, can score really quickly. The Bengals can score. I think the Bengals offense is going to go bonkers in this game, indoors. You put Jamar Chase on the carpet, it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
There's no sun to worry about. It's a night game.
Yeah, none of that. Nothing in your eyes. I like this spot for the over as well. I think by the way, John, we have put together a 10-pick plus 43,000 parlay. $10 on this parlay.
See if they'll take 1,000. Yeah, see if they'll take 1,000 on that.
If they'll take 1,000. No, I'm not logged into my account here. I can't even type anything, but I'm not logged into my account here, John. I can't even type the number in. They don't let you unlogged in. I'm not trying to log into my account. Hey, by the way, side note, I can't log into my fucking account online. I have to use my mobile device.
You got to use the phone for the location.
Yeah. Apparently,
It's not,
maybe I need to add Wi-Fi to my computer.
no, there's a way to. Yeah, I mean, there is a way.
I've downloaded their stupid thing a million times. It does not work. I think you need to have Wi-Fi on your PC, and I don't have Wi-Fi. I use I've got a PC over here. It's got neon lights in it and all that kind of stuff going on. It's got fans all over the place.
It's a gamer's PC.
Yeah, I don't game, but it is a gamer PC. Why do I have a gamer PC if I don't game, John?
I don't know.
It was expensive, and I
had a gamer. Yeah, I had to get a new laptop, but I had the gamer laptop. It was really cool. The thing, the keyboard would light up and like scroll through. When my nieces and nephew were younger, because with DFS, my laptop goes with me everywhere because I play every damn DFS thing. So there's no family function that I'm not sitting there putting lineups in. And the kids were young; they used to love that thing. They're like, "Oh my god, that's the coolest laptop ever!"
Crazy. That's fun. That's actually funny.
You're always like, Uncle Johnny, why do you always have your laptop?
I was just gonna say, can't you just not bring your freaking laptop?
I have no choice.
Like a family event for one.
Thanksgiving, Christmas. There's always games going on. Every holiday,
you're sitting there at Thanksgiving making lineup. You know what I did? I made my lineups before Thanksgiving. Okay, and then I went and I sat there, and I didn't have a computer with me.
That I was able to do everything pre-Thanksgiving this year
in advance.
I was at my aunt. I usually down here. My aunt lives pretty close by. I usually go over there, and she went away for Thanksgiving. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it'll just be a nice, quiet Thanksgiving. I'll catch up on some other stuff. And then my mom's cousin, who lives like 5 minutes away, she's like, why don't you just come over here? So it wound up being my mom's uncle's just turned 97 years old. It was him, one of his buddies who's in his 90s, another couple that I know that were friends of my grandmother's that moved down here from Brooklyn. So it was basically me and a bunch of 80-plus-year-olds for Thanksgiving. So it was quite the
I feel like you'd fit right in.
I did fit in. They love me,
Yeah, I feel like you'd be fine.
My uncles, I sang.
You tell them you're playing DFS. They're all confused. They're confused.
What are you
even saying?
Well, I sang it. So he was 97 years ago, and they had a big party. I was still living in New York, came down here, and I wound up singing Sinatra at that party, and so they all still remember it.
I got another question for you. How come every Italian from Brooklyn thinks they can sing Sinatra?
Yeah, they think. I actually can, but other people think they.
Every Italian I've ever met in Brooklyn believes that they can sing just like Frank Sinatra.
Of course.
A friend of mine who is an Italian from Brooklyn sang a Frank Sinatra song at my wedding.
I'm
not fucking around. That is a real thing that goes on.
So back the year 2000, so I'm just a couple of years older than you. The year 2000 was a massive wedding year because everyone wanted to get married on the millennial.
Oh, is that what it was?
I mean, I had 1 week. I had 5 weddings in the same week, like July of that year. But yeah, I was getting requests to everyone's like, oh, John's got to come up here and sing. And then I was like, all right, you get overexposure. You don't want to do it all the time.
It loses its its appeal, and then it starts to become like now people are actually critiquing your skills. Like, no, I'm not a professional singer.
Yeah, because then it's like you're doing it all the time. So then I shelved it for a good 10, 15 years.
People are like, all right, it doesn't sound exactly like Frankie.
And when you bring it back out after 10 years, everyone's excited. It's like,
what's your go-to Sinatra song? Like, what are you busting out with? Not New York. Like
at that party. So I did. I
got The World on a String.
No, I did My Way at at my uncle's party, and I did. The Summer Wind was the one they always used to request at
the Summer Wind. That's a surprise. I thought it'd be I thought it'd be like a little south of the border.
No, it was. I've always, Summer Wind for sure. And then matter of fact, I did it. So I did Summer Wind in front of Chaz Palminteri. My buddy's that was the first time I ever sang in public. It was my buddy's college graduation party. It was in the Bronx.
Is that another thing that happens for everybody every Italian from Brooklyn? They know Chaz Palminteri?
Well, he's a Bronx guy. So my buddy's family was from the Bronx and owned a restaurant up there that Chaz Palminteri, and they were friends with Chaz Palminteri, and he was there that day, and we were in the private room for the party, and we were getting ready to have dinner. I'm sitting near the DJ. and I think I yelled over like play Dean Martin, play like Volare or whatever the hell I wanted to play. And he goes, if you come up here and sing, I'll play whatever you want. So I said, yeah, give me the mic. I said, but play and then play Sinatra. So that was like the first time I ever did it.
Oh,
in
there
public.
it
And
is.
people,
If you come up here and sing it, like, challenge accepted.
I said, I'll do it.
Chaz
I did it in Key West. I sang with the band in Key West. I sang not Pearl Jam. I sang Purple Rain.
You know who wasn't there from Bronx Tale? Colosimo.
He was in jail at that point.
That dude's in jail.
Yeah. No, he was out now.
Here's another thing that happens with actors. How come every actor that plays a gangster in a movie then wants to become one in real life? What is up with that? Colosimo was just an actor. Goes on The Sopranos. Next thing you know, he's selling meth.
He's a piece of crap, to be honest.
What a knucklehead.
He was involved in killing I think a cop guy. I know he didn't do it, but he was involved in like, I think
listen, when him and his buddy shot up that poker game with Chrissy and all them, you already knew it was bad news.
That's right.
Wait, no, no, that wasn't what he did. That was what's his name?
No, they came in and robbed the poker game. Yeah.
No, I think I think I got it wrong. That was Jackie April's kid.
That was Jackie's kid. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
Jr.
what Colosimo did, but he did something also fucked up.
Yeah.
All I know is Tony gave him a diet 7-Up as his last drink. It's like, you sure you want the diet? He's like, oh, it's fine, Tony. Something The Sopranos still holds up to this day. If you watch it now, it's still fine.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's 20 years later, like, it's still works.
I don't know. I just saw something because my social media, I get a lot of Sopranos stuff, and I saw them do they were doing like the testing for Tony. Like they were bringing in all these, and it's a lot of the guys who were in the show tested for Tony, and you couldn't imagine it not being James Gandolfini. He was so good. That's one of the best. He was probably one of the best in a role. I would say up there with like, what's his name was really good at on Breaking Bad and all. But I think Tony was. What
impressed me about that actor
Gandolfini was Tony.
Yeah, I've watched Gandolfini in other things, and I wasn't super impressed by him, and that's why I like it so much. And also, Gandolfini was nothing like the character at all. So, and in real life, nothing like that. But I guess just being from Jersey, you could just
he changed his whole voice, and then you hear him breathing all the time, like he's always like because he's heavy and he's out of breath, and like
that stuff was real. That stuff was actually
real.
Real.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was just James.
Yeah.
But the accent was just perfection. Anyway, we talked too much about that. Listen, let's go back to the bet screen here and recap. The props tool gave us Russell Wilson under 232 yards off the top props tool. John likes Jets +6, Falcons +6 in the Raiders Bucks game. Bucks to win over 46.5. Little same game parlay action right there if you want. Under 40 in the Jaguars Titans game. Under 44 in the Seahawks Cardinals game. Over 49.5 in the Bills Rams. A lot of totals. Chargers +4 and the over 49.5 in Bengals Cowboys. If you want to play it as a straight parlay, that is plus $43,010 turns into 4,300. YOLO. I'll put $1 on it. Can't even type it in. They don't let you. But I'll be going on my screen. Put $1 on it. Have some fun. This breakdown has been sponsored by the Sharp app, where EV betting is the way to pick up Sharp app at a discount. You can go to sharp.app or download Sharp app off of any iPhone, iPad, iOS, Google store. The app is everywhere. Promo code DFSA25 is a 25% off gift from me to you right here, right now. Go do it. Do it now. You're going to love these tools of the Sharp app if you bet at all. And John's in there just dropping his picks. So if you're just someone who wants to follow along with somebody who you like, who you know, who is putting out smart bet, you already know every bet John puts out is a sharp play because he's sitting in the house all day long in a basement just looking at math numbers. Okay, you're out there doing shit. You're out in the sun. You're having fun. You're enjoying your life. John's not doing any of that. He's in the house fucking gambling all the time with an edge. So take advantage. Save the time.
Allow my lack of life.
Yes, John leaves the house rarely for you guys. So 25% off with promo code DFSA25. You want to do it now. The launch of the ARB tool is coming not in days, but in weeks. By the end of the month, I'm told we'll have an ARB tool out there. More columns, more stuff, more sports books. We just added 3 or 4 more sports books as we speak. The Proptimizer tool alone already has Fliff and Prize Picks and Top Props and Underdog and Sleeper and Parlay Play and other ones that I can't even remember. Tons and tons going on the Sharp app. And of course, you just follow along with the bets or bet like an EV better. Go to sharpapp.com. That's going to do it for the game plan. NFL Week 12 plus 4,308.14 parlay on screen for you guys. Let's do it. Good luck, everybody. Take care.